myself a notion. One I know that you'll understand, to set the world in motion. By reaching out towards each other's hands, maybe we'll discover what we should have known all along. One way or another, together's where we both belong. If we listen to each other's hearts and find we're never too far apart, then maybe love is the reason why the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye, yeah. If a wall should come between us, too high to climb, too hard to break through, I know that love will lead us and find a way to bring me to you. Don't be in a hurry, think before you count us out. Oh, you don't have to worry, I will never let you down. If we listen to each other's hearts and find we're never too far apart, then maybe love is the reason why the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. If you're ever lonely, stop. You don't have to be. After all is stolen, I'll be away from you to me. Look inside and see. If we listen to each other's hearts and find we're never too far apart, and maybe love is the reason why the first time ever we're seeing it eye to eye, yeah. Said love is why we're seeing it eye to eye, eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye, yeah. Love is why we're seeing it eye to eye.
All right, good morning. Good morning. I think you deserve a round of applause for trudging through the snow to get here. Good morning to everybody online. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Toronto. I'm Helen Bello, the spiritual director here. And we are here to support you in exploring your spirituality, to know who you are, to love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. Of course, if you remember who you are, you don't have to worry about the first two because you already do love only and forgive everything. And sometimes we need a gentle reminder. And we celebrate connection and community and wellness, inspiration and happiness, which are great things to celebrate. We also recognize that this center is situated upon the spiritual territories of the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Métis First Nation. We also recognize, are you laughing at me back there, Carrie? No? Okay, good. I'm getting better at it. And also we recognize the spiritual masters and the mystics that have walked this earth plane and left their imprint for us to learn from, to grow from, to evolve from. We also recognize that this is a New Thought center. We embrace the teachings of New Thought and ageless wisdom, all the ageless wisdom, to, again, learn and grow from and evolve into the next level. So welcome to your spiritual home. Now, this morning, to start off, it is the third Sunday of the month. Therefore, we want to honor and recognize a very amazing woman who is a volunteer in this center. If you want to just flip that over there, Kim, because I don't think she knows this is happening for her. Lori Lackwald, if you would come on up to the front. Come here, Lori. Lori, who volunteers so much time as a practitioner, as a lover of being of service. She volunteers her time not only in this center, but to many other places, creating all kinds of incredible toques for tots and helping out with Esther, the Wonder Pig, but also dedicating many hours here, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
There you go. Woo-hoo.
I hope I can keep it alive.
You don't have to do anything. That's what's so great about orchids. Just stick them down and you don't.
A cat.
No, your cat won't touch those.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're good. They just last forever. So enjoy. Yes. Woohoo. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Aidan for our invocation song, and this is an original by Aidan Farrell.
Waiting for the rain to fall, waiting for the smoke to clear, sit and wait for a rainbow to appear, so you can face your fears, waiting for a sign to show, waiting for the moment you just know, waiting for the answers as the questions, they've grown cold, and your heart's been growing old. What will make the dreamers is their courage to pull through. If it's not up to us, then who? Looking back at what we've done, looking back at who we have become, wondering how we got lost while we were living on the run, while we waited for the sun, wondering when the joke is through, wondering how or what to do, wondering how to live right in a world that's oh so cruel, where losing hope is nothing new. What will make the dreamers is their courage to pull through. If it's not up to us, if it's not up to us, if it's not up to
Thank you. Okay, I invite you to breathe in. Breathe in love. Breathe it in. Breathe out peace. Breathe in again. Breathing into the love and breathing out peace. It's time to stop waiting. It is up to us. It is up to us to recognize there is an invisible energy. It is a creative, intelligent energy that is the source and substance of all life. And whatever our idea of God is, the perception of reality is an inner knowing. Our inner knowing, the recognition of our life and love, is the key to our freedom. We cannot doubt spirit. The creative intelligence exists, for we live. Ours is the privilege of acceptance, to accept we are all made of the same energy that created life, to recognize our good, to love and give love. Spirit is not something that was or is going to be, or it's not something to become. Spirit is who we are right now. It is the eternal art of creation that passes from the invisible into the visible in temporary form. And we can enjoy this temporary form right here, right now. Let us recognize all our needs are met by this play of life upon itself. Let us recognize the divinity in every person we meet. For what I see in others is a reflection of myself. And so, once again, let us breathe in love. Breathe it in. Breathe out peace. Knowing that we are divine spirit in this temporary form right here, right now. So let us live in love and joy, peace, acceptance, and abundance. Let's say yes to all of life. And so it is. And so we are going to stand up and sing, "Thank you for this day's spirit." And the words are in your program. They are also up on the screen there. And of course, it's a call and response. So we need to help Aiden out. As she's calling out, we need to respond back to her. And I know that there are enough voices in here that we can all make it loud and proud.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friends. My wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friends. Thank you for this life, Spirit, thank you for this life. Thank you for this life, Spirit, thank you for this life. This blessed, this blessed, this blessed life. This blessing, this blessing, this blessed life. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Give it up for the band, everybody. Woo! Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Woo! I said thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day.
We have a hot band. Don't we have a hot band? They're incredible. Incredible. One day, Julian, I'm going to pull you right out front because he hides in the back and he's an incredible guitarist. I know that would be your worst nightmare. No? Okay. Julian's also playing guitar for meditation now, and it is truly a wonderful experience to have live music happening with our meditation at 10:30. So come experience it. Okay, so we have our practitioner of the day, and I'm going to invite up to the front here our wonderful practitioner, Nick Maselli, who has always wonderful, wonderful stories to tell. There you go, Nick. Take it away.
Okay, so our theme for this month is embody spiritual principles. I feel like I need to acknowledge Ellen for that wonderful meditation, which I thought was the perfect lead into what I have to say. I'm going to start with a quote from The Science of Mind, as I often do. Undoubtedly, we are surrounded by and immersed in a perfect life, a complete, normal, happy, sane, harmonious, and peaceful existence. But only as much of this life as we embody will really become ours to use. So there it is from Ernest Holmes. Embodiment is the key to getting the most out of science of mind. And how do we embody science of mind? I'll offer a few basic principles. Keep in mind that life is perfect, as the quote I just read says. Recognize that we're all one. A spirit of service, being a good presence in everyone else's lives, and the basic rules for living, like compassion and forgiveness. And I wanted to share an experience. It was an experience of a healing. It wasn't a healing I went through, but I was a part of it, and it transformed me in a way. I had a personal friend for a number of years who was a middle-aged spiritual seeker like myself. And one day after I'd known him for years, he confided in me and told me a story about his childhood that was terrible. But he wanted to share it with me. And he also shared with me that he had gotten into a conflicted relationship with his mother over the very issue that he discussed with me. And the first thing that came to my mind, or not the first thing, but I came around to be forgiving. And I offered that to him. And I said that partly because I'd heard about forgiveness many times, and partly because that's what my intuition said was the right thing to say. So several months later, he went back to me and said he had an invitation from his mother to visit her in her home city, and he wasn't sure he wanted to accept it. And I said the same thing again, be forgiving, take the trip. He took the trip, and it was wonderful. They had a great healing and a great reconciliation. And then he came back really happy, and his mother died 6 weeks later. So I was really moved and shaken up by that. I realized that even though my role in that healing was very small, it was crucial, and it reminded me how powerful a small act of kindness can be. And I was thinking that this shows the perfection of creation, that everything is happening in its right time, and this was a great example of that. And the unity of minds, the fact that everyone involved in this incident knew what they had to do. And being of service, yes, that's the way I've tried to live my life. And this was a really good example of how a small act of kindness can really go a long way. And that's something for everybody to keep in mind. And I do want to stress that when all this happened, I hadn't done practitioner studies, so just doing the right thing and waiting to see what comes of it, letting events unfold is the way to live, and that's what I recommend for everyone. And I've tried to live a science of mind way for quite a few years, and once in a while I just get to see how wonderful that can be. So now I'm going to read the affirmation, and I'll read it once, then you can repeat it with me. The power of my commitment to live in alignment with Spirit allows for greater ease and flow in my life. And now with me, the power of my commitment to live in alignment with Spirit allows for greater ease and flow in my life. And now, I invite everyone to get completely present in this moment. Take a breath. I know that there's one perfect, loving, creative power, and all events, the entire flow of events, all transformation, all personal evolution comes from the one source. I know that in the one source we all draw our life, that I'm the perfect expression of the one mind, and I'm one with everyone. And by that meeting of our minds, we create healing and great blessing, prosperity, new lives, new beginnings. All of this comes from the one source, the one perfect unity. And the spirit of compassion is the healer that brings us all together. I'm grateful for peace, for compassion, for the knowledge, the wisdom that we are all one. I know this to be the truth. I release the word to the law with peace, with deep conviction. Please join me in saying, and so it is.
Beautiful, Nick. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love your story. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Aiden for another original for our feature song.
So this is a new song here at the center, and it's called Best Life. And the chorus, the lyric is, out here living my best life, so I encourage you to sing along. That would be awesome, if you feel in your heart that you want to.
You got to live in the moment if you wanna be free. Don't have to know where you're going, you just gotta believe. Don't need to know why it happened, and you don't need to know how. Go on, forget what you did then, 'cause all that matters is now, 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 now. So be out here glowing, out here flowing, out here knowing that we gon' be alright. Out here living, out here giving, out here knowing that we're one with the light. Out here living my best life, out here living our best life, out here living our best life, out here living our best life. Woo! Don't always have to feel happy, and it's okay to cry. Feel every joy, every sorrow, don't let it pass you by. Nobody has all the answers, and why would we? Know that the place you are standing is where you're meant to be. So be out here glowing, out here flowing, out here knowing that we gon' be alright. Out here living, out here giving, out here knowing that we one with the light. Out here living our best life, 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 out here living our best life. Feel that your fate's been decided. Feel that your bed has been made. Your second chance and redemptions in every breath you take. Forget your fear for the future and leave your shame in the past. 'Cause all there is this moment. Let's make the moment last, 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 last. And me out here glowing, out here flowing, out here knowing that we gon' be alright. Out here living, out here giving, out here knowing that we won with the light. Out here living our best life. 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 Oh, ooh,
Woohoo! Out here living my best life. And isn't that what this is all about? Is for us to be living our best life, to give up needing to know how we're going to get there, but to really understand and embody that we are being held in the arms of a beloved, creative, intelligent energy that will support us on experiencing all this incredible, incredible energy of love. And we are always exchanging energy. We are in relationship with ourselves. That's an exchange of energy. We are in relationship with others, and that is an exchange of energy. Hence the title of my talk, The Energy Exchange. But here's what happens. And you tell me if this happens to you. A couple people brought it up to my attention this week, as well as a couple of clients that I was working with, that it was really hard to feel like they were living this best life when all this stuff is going on in the world and there's so much suffering out there. Sound familiar? And so, how do we navigate actually staying connected to who we are and yet still continue to support others and want to remove their suffering? And Nick, I think you did that so beautifully with your friend by saying, go forgive her. Forgiveness. That one active moment of putting that out there for your friend and the healing that it brought. And each one of us have that capacity to be of service in that way. So it's really hard to hold all the suffering and yet still know who we are. And yet this is our task and our journey. Because, you know, I know for me, sometimes this week, it's like, I cannot watch the news anymore. I'm done. Like, I just don't want to see more and more and more of people suffering. So our own internal path is to shift into a state within ourselves, to start to resonate with our own inner world that is love, that is support, that is peace, that is compassion, and to understand that we are empathetic beings. We have to be. We're empathetic beings, and empathy means to feel for somebody else's suffering or to be in touch with our own suffering. If you're not, you're probably a psychopath, and I don't think there are any in this room or online. And Signs of Mind doesn't talk a lot about empathy. It talks about compassion, but it doesn't talk about empathy, and empathy gets a very bad rap in these teachings because The belief is that then you are lowering yourself to somebody else's consciousness. But that is so not the case. It is so not the case. We can be in empathy and feel for not only other people's sufferings, but also their joys and their triumphs, and rise people up. And that's just not an intellectual exercise. That is us being in mind. Because mind, when we talk about the science of mind, it is not just our intellects. It is our heart. It is our bodies, the energy that flows in and out of us. It is all one working together in unison, in harmony, and tapping into that inner wisdom within us to know and come back into spiritual truth. But that doesn't mean we don't feel pain and sorrow for other people. That doesn't mean we can't walk in somebody else's shoes and understand what they're going through. So it was interesting because I'm auditing a ministerial class. So on Thursday nights, I stay up from 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. and audit this class online with Reverend James. And it's great because I don't have to do the homework. I just sit there and observe. And he had asked this question: is the answer already known before the question is asked? Yeah. And we had to get into groups. And of course, I just sat there and observed. And I was with a group of people from Palm Desert who have no idea who I am. Like, they didn't even know, they didn't know anything about me. So I just sat there and listened to them, and they're discussing it. And of course, as ministerial students, they want to get in there and dig into everything and figure it all out. And it's so great to witness. And we come back all together. James asked me, "So Helen, what's the answer?" And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. No, I wasn't the one going to speak for the group because I'm just here to observe." Good thing I knew the answer. And which I do know the answer. And it is yes. And it is yes. We know the answer to the question before the question is asked. Why is that? Because we are part of the universal subjective mind. We are part of this vast universe that holds everything that was in history, everything that is happening right now, and everything that will ever happen in the future. And we have the power to tap into it so we can know before the question is asked. Now, how do you do that? That's the intuitive knowing and the willingness to embody spiritual principle and practices and train ourselves to really learn to trust that the answer we get that is showing up before the question is asked is the correct answer. Have fun figuring that out in your own experience. It actually works to be able to know. Has anybody ever had that intuition? I know it before it was going to happen. That's because we do. We do know. So mind isn't just the thinking part. It does include the feeling and the being part of us. And as we connect into that, of course, we can also connect and feel and tune into all the suffering that has ever happened. Some people are really stuck in connecting and still continuing to connect to all the suffering that has ever happened. We can feel and connect to all the suffering and pain, as well as the joy and the happiness that is happening in this present day. And we can connect to all the joy and the happiness and, yes, the sorrow and the pain that we experience in this human incarnation that will happen in the future. Because we are empathetic beings. We have a heart. We feel all the emotions, and all the emotions that we feel are all spirit. See, spirit isn't just the love part. It's the grief and the sorrow and the sadness as well. If we separate that out, we're in duality. We have to be willing to embrace it all, and we have to be willing to feel it. Otherwise, we build up this ice around our heart, and we become indifferent. We become indifferent to ourselves and our own journey. We become indifferent to other people's journey, and that is not helpful. It is also not helpful to collapse into the suffering of ourselves or anyone else and really take that on, because then we become a victim to it. And that was what was happening with a couple of people that I was coaching this week, is they were really collapsing in and taking it on. And I would say, but is this really yours? Is this your suffering? Or is this you experiencing a collective suffering? And you do not have to take it on in order to help the healing. You can feel it, but you don't have to collapse in and become a victim. And I think that makes a very clear distinction between whether we are continuing to suffer or we're able to recognize and hold the suffering in one hand and hold the knowingness, the consciousness of who we are, the consciousness of the other person at the same time. It's not an either or. It's holding it all and really then knowing what to do with it. And there's actually 5 kinds of empathy that I want to go over. And this is actually from Dan Siegel's work. And the suffering or that we feel for someone else is just one kind of empathy. And I know for myself, like, I'm a very empathetic person, and I feel a lot. And, you know, on Thursday night, we, Derek and Mahala and I went to see Come From Away. That was our Christmas gift to one another. And we, Derek and I had gone to a restaurant beforehand, which was packed with more millennials than I ever knew existed. It was just millennial groups of them coming in out of the cold. It was unbelievable. I'm like, they all must live and work in downtown Toronto. And then we go to the theater, and I walk in, and it's like all baby boomers. All I see is gray hair and balding heads. Of which Mahala says to me, well, the millennials are upstairs because they can't afford the tickets downstairs sitting in the orchestra seat, unless your parents buy them. But at the end of it, I was sobbing. I could feel the pain and the sorrow and the joy and the excitement and everything that happened in that human experience. And for those of you who don't know what Come From Away is, it's the musical about the planes that landed in Gander, Newfoundland during 9/11, and how this community showed up. And it was the most beautiful, heartfelt experience to know that people showed up this way for strangers. And then they talked about the different sorrows and fears that these people who were displaced for 4 days, what they were experiencing, and how one mother had lost her son who was a firefighter in 9/11. And I could just feel it all. And I'm sobbing. And Derek and Mahala are laughing at me. They think it's hilarious that I'm sobbing and I'm feeling all of this. And then this delightful woman who's in the row in front, she comes along and she puts her hand on my arm and says, I know. I'm like, so she was very empathetic. Now, she wasn't getting caught in my stuff. And Derek and Mahala, well, they weren't so empathetic, but they... I know there's empathy in them, just not for me in that moment. But it was just the most incredible experience to feel that shared humanity. And it's this resonance of the heart and the feeling felt that is so important in empathy. I want you to ask yourself, how often do you really feel felt by somebody? We look to be seen by somebody, to be heard by somebody. But how often when we are in that energy exchange and in relationship with someone, do we feel felt? Because it is in that feeling felt that we feel safe and loved and secure. And that's what we need to give our children when they're growing up. But it's also what we need to give each other. And that happens through empathy. So there are 5 types of empathy that come from Dan Siegel. And, everybody has their ideas about how many different types of empathy. But I like Dan Siegel's work because he does talk about mind as the whole being. And really is this connected being doing the interpersonal neurobiology work on how our brains and our bodies exchange energy in creating intimacy with one another and feeling felt by one another and what happens for us. So the first type of empathy is emotional resonance, where you feel the feelings of another. And I think we can all relate to times we felt the same feelings as somebody else. And then there's perspective taking. And the perspective taking is, let me put myself into your perspective to try and understand what you're experiencing. And to see it from that person's perspective. Doesn't mean we necessarily have to agree, but I think in this world we could do a much better job of really taking the time to understand that person's perspective and what's motivating them. The third one is cognitive empathy. And it's thinking about what the experience means for somebody because a memory is activated for someone. So someone who is feeling afraid, it's like, oh, what must it be like for them to feel afraid? The fourth one is empathetic concern. And this isn't the other word for compassion. I see your pain. I can feel it. But I also see you as a divine being. And I know that there is the perfect solution for you. And I'm willing to support you in that. And then the fifth one is empathetic joy. Feeling happy for people in their successes and feeling their joy and, celebrating with them and supporting them and laughing with them and applauding them. And we could use a whole lot more of that too. Because we often, when somebody does really well, I'll often hear, yeah, I wish it was me. I'm not, or look for reasons to nitpick why they shouldn't have that. And we need to start raising people up. So this is the value of understanding the power of empathy, because it can bring us much closer, not only to ourselves and our own humanity, but to embodying and really relating to the humanity of others and really understanding people's differences. So one of the things I did this week, I did many things. I went to Come From Away, went for dinner, went to a few movies. But I also ended up watching a show on iTunes, Star Trek, the original version, the original one, because someone had recommended this one particular episode called The Empath. And the empath is about, y'all know Star Trek, right? I don't have to explain who the characters are here, do I? Well, maybe you guys over there. Have you seen Star Trek?
I'm a musician, not a TV junkie.
You'll understand why he says that in a few minutes. So, this particular episode, which, I used to watch Star Trek a lot when I was a kid, because, I was a TV junkie when I was a kid. Captain Kirk and Spock and the Doctor go down to this planet, and there's this woman who's an empath, and she can take the pain, she expresses it, it comes out in her, but then she can also heal it in herself, which we all have the power to do. We can feel somebody else's pain, and we can also heal that pain within ourselves. So they're down on this planet, and then they have these captors that have brought this woman to this planet to set about an experiment. And so they want to torture the captain and Spock and the Doctor and really understand their feelings and their pain, and how much is this woman going to take on their pain. And really what they want to do is see how much is she willing to take on, or will she make this line where she's not going to sacrifice herself for their pain. And so at one point, Captain Kirk says, if she could strengthen herself enough, she could not only remove the pain and suffering that they were experiencing, she could remove the pain and suffering that she is experiencing. And I love this because it's so metaphysical. And I mean, really, Gene Roddenberry, he was a mystic in the 60s, and he pushed the limits in television. He pushed the limits socially in terms of, really getting people to think about interracial relationships, equality, and our humanity. But what they learn is that she needs to learn all of this in order to save her planet. She needs to learn about courage. She needs to learn about compassion and love and the will to survive in order to actually go back and save her planet. How many of you are willing to embody and know that you have the love, the compassion, the courage, and the will not only to survive, but to thrive in order to heal this planet? Because it's all in there. It's all in there. And what I love at the end of this, Captain Kirk says to these aliens, he said, you don't know about love and compassion because all you know about are your experiments and your intellect. We can't just use our intellects. Our intellects are incredibly valuable, but we need to also drop down into our heart space and be willing to crack ourselves open and feel in order to heal. You can't go around it. You can't go underneath it. You can't go above it. You gotta go through it and crack yourself open and really embody the power of empathy and compassion in order to heal yourself, in order to bring healing to this planet, so that we don't have to turn on the TV and see more suffering. Oh yeah, I've had a lot of TV references. I might sound like a TV junkie today. I'm also an information junkie. So we all feel pain and suffering, but we can also feel the joy and happiness. And we can know and balance all of this with coming back into knowing who we are, that we are God, we are the divine. And when we have that consciousness, it doesn't matter that we're taking on or feeling somebody else's pain, because we then know what to do with it. We know, and have faith that there is a divine order in this universe, and that everything that happens for us and everybody else is all something that we have some sort of established premise for, and we've all agreed to it on some level, or it wouldn't be happening. But then we also have free will choice to change from suffering and pain into healing and love and compassion and happiness. And so, when we can allow ourselves to get close enough to feel it, with the understanding it is all God, then we know we can be in service to the evolution of this world. We have the ability to feel empathy and faith at the same time, to know that we have a choice, and the choices that we make have an effect on this world. So I invite you to choose love, to choose kindness, to choose compassion. And I want to leave you with a quote by Gene Roddenberry. The human race is a remarkable creature, one with a great potential. I hope that Star Trek has helped to show us that if we believe in ourselves and our abilities, we can embrace all of humanity. We can embrace it, and we can be with it, and we can have these energy exchanges. And so, just before I close off, I'm going to invite Brendan up. And I just want to take you on a little visualization, if you're willing to go on a voyage. So I invite you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Laugh. Open yourself up to the unknown. Breathe into your heart space. Go deep into your heart. Let it burst open. And recognize the connection we have deep in our heart space to all of history, to all the joy, the abundance, the love, the healing, the pain, the sorrow, the loss. Recognize that you are here right now, and that there is a pulse within your heart that is gently nudging you to open up to all of humanity and to ask, how may I serve? There is also a vast future that is filled with quantum possibilities, knowing that every choice we make right here, right now, has an effect on the possibilities that we choose and ones that actualize in the future. And so in this moment, again, I invite you to breathe in love. Breathe it in. And allow the exhale to breathe out peace, knowing that this energy exchange is received not only by others in this room, it is received by each and every person on this planet. And so in this recognition that there's this one breath, one life, and one vast universe of possibilities, say yes to all of your good. And so it is. Thank you, Brendan. Woohoo! Brendan had to learn that this week. I'm like, do you know Star Trek? He did so well. So it is time to take out what we have to offer the center. I invite you to take it out. We're going to sing I Release and I Let Go, and then I'll let you get out of here. And just hold what you have to offer the center in your hands and say, thank you. Thank you for my abundance. Thank you for all the good in my life. Thank you for all the blessings that come my way. For as I give, I receive. As I receive, I give. It's all part of the law of circulation. And take it away.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was in hand. But now I can say if you're discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And this is what I have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. Said I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
I give great gratitude for these gifts, recognizing the abundance of creation and the generosity of the members who are contributing to the flow and the prosperity of the center for everyone's good. Please join me in saying, and so it is.
I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. Said I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. Said I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. Set up in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Thank you, Aidan Farrell and Brendan Swanson, Julian, Jared, and Wes. Thank you to Judy, Ellen, Carrie, Mahalan, Tasha, Wynn, and Lori in the bookstore, Kim on camera, Cohen on sound. Thank you to Ellen and Julian for your beautiful, beautiful meditation this morning. Nick, thank you for your beautiful words this morning. Our community practitioner is Lena. If you need to see Lena, go and see her in the back there. Thank you to all of you online. Thank you to all of you. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Remember that next week is our potluck and putting all of our bags together for the homeless. So bring in your stuff next week. We also have a board meeting, and on February 2nd, right? February 2nd is our annual AGM, so come and join us for that. And Carrie has a workshop upstairs, February 3rd. Okay, I have the 5th, I've got the 7th, I've got the 3rd, but it really is the 3rd. And we're going to finish it off with...
Sing a song.
Woo!
When you feel down and out, sing a song, it'll make your day. Here is the time to shout. Sing a song, it'll make your way. Sometimes it's hard to care. Sing a song. It's not so hard to bear. Sing a song, it'll make your day. Sing a song, sing a song, sing a song, sing a song, yeah. Bring your heart to believe and sing a song. Life ain't about retrieving. Sing a song. Give yourself what you need. Sing a song. Smile, smile, smile and believe. Sing a song. Sing a song, sing a song, sing a song, sing a song, yeah. Have an amazing week, everybody. Woo!